Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. One moment everything feels smooth and controlled, and the very next, a storm rises out of nowhere. Situations appear that you didn't ask for, problems show up uninvited, people say things that cut deep, and life delivers blows that shake your balance. In those moments, the real measure of strength isn't in how loud you speak, how fast you move, or how tough you look. It is in how still you can remain when the chaos tries to pull you apart. The mind is a battlefield, and if you cannot master it, you will always be at the mercy of whatever comes your way. When you train your body, people can see it. Muscles grow, weight shifts, energy changes. But when you train your mind, the growth is silent, invisible, yet far more powerful. Calmness is not weakness, it is control. Calmness does not mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let reality dictate your inner peace. Anyone can lose their temper, anyone can panic, anyone can shout, but not everyone can remain steady when everything around them is falling apart. That takes discipline, practice, and mental strength. Think about the last time you reacted without thinking. Maybe you said something you regretted. Maybe you let fear take over. Maybe you let emotions drive you into a place you didn't want to be. That moment showed you the cost of an untrained mind. But imagine if instead of reacting, you paused. Instead of anger, you chose patience. Instead of fear, you chose clarity. That choice could change the outcome of the situation, and even more importantly, it could change the way you see yourself. Because every time you choose calmness, you are telling yourself that you are in charge, not the storm, not the people, not the problems, only you. Training your mind to be calm is not about pretending life is easy. It's about being ready for the fact that life will never be easy. The traffic will jam, the deadlines will come, the disappointments will arrive, and the betrayals will sting. But if your mind is trained, none of these things can break you. You will walk through them without losing yourself. You will stand in the middle of the noise and still hear your own thoughts clearly. You will become someone who doesn't just survive the hard moments, but grows through them. This is not something that happens overnight. Just like the body needs consistent exercise to stay strong, the mind needs consistent practice to remain calm. Meditation, reflection, discipline, self-awareness. These are not fancy words, these are tools for survival. And when you sharpen them, you begin to notice the shift. What used to shake you no longer shakes you the same way. What used to anger you doesn't carry the same power. What used to frighten you now feels smaller in comparison to the calmness you carry within. That is when you realize the true power of a trained mind. Calmness is control, not weakness. Too often, society makes people believe that being calm in the face of conflict means you are powerless, that staying quiet means you are timid, and that holding back your reaction means you are afraid. But the truth is the exact opposite. Calmness is not the absence of strength. It is the ultimate demonstration of strength. Anyone can raise their voice, anyone can throw their hands in frustration, anyone can act out of impulse, but very few have the ability to remain grounded when emotions are pulling them in every direction. That ability is not weakness, it is the mark of control, the evidence that you are in charge of yourself, even when everything around you is spiraling. Think about how most people respond when anger rises or stress mounts. The instant reaction is to lash out, to push back, to let the outside world control the inside state. That reaction might feel powerful in the moment, but afterward it often leaves regret, broken relationships, and unnecessary damage. Calmness, on the other hand, gives you the power to choose wisely instead of reacting blindly. It gives you space to breathe, to think, to see clearly what is in front of you without being clouded by raw emotion. That is control in its purest form. True strength is not shown in aggression. It is shown in restraint, in knowing you have the ability to explode but choosing instead to hold steady. There is a reason why calm leaders inspire trust and why calm individuals command respect. People naturally gravitate toward those who remain unshaken in the middle of uncertainty. Calmness communicates confidence without words. It sends a signal that no matter how heated the situation becomes, you are not going to be pulled into the storm. That kind of control influences others more powerfully than shouting or intimidation ever could. It stabilizes the environment around you because your presence brings balance instead of adding more chaos. When you are calm, people see you as reliable, as someone who can be counted on when things are falling apart. That is not weakness, it is authority. Calmness also reflects mastery over the self. The most difficult person to control in this world is not your enemy, not your boss, not even your circumstances. It is you, your emotions, your impulses, your desires, your fears. They all fight to take control. When you can sit with that inner storm and not let it dictate your actions, you have achieved a level of control that few ever reach. That is why calmness is not just a trait, but a discipline. It is something you train and strengthen the same way you train muscles. Every time you choose calmness over anger, patience over panic, clarity over confusion, you are reinforcing control. In real life, calmness often changes the outcome of situations. A heated argument can de-escalate when one person refuses to match the other's energy. A problem at work can be solved faster when someone chooses calm focus over frantic complaining. A crisis can be endured with less damage when calmness allows rational decisions instead of emotional ones. Calmness is practical power. It is not about ignoring challenges. It is about facing them with composure that multiplies your chances of overcoming them. Weakness is losing yourself to the moment. Strength is holding steady until the storm passes. Many misunderstand calmness as silence or passivity, but that is a shallow view. Calmness is not staying still while life tramples over you. It is standing tall with a controlled presence that refuses to be shaken. It is knowing that your reaction shapes the outcome more than the problem itself. It is understanding that wasting energy on emotional outbursts only feeds the chaos, while conserving your energy through calmness keeps you sharp and ready. Control is never about domination over others. It is about mastery over yourself. Calmness is the highest form of that mastery. A trained mind responds, not reacts. There is a clear difference between responding and reacting, and this difference defines the quality of your life. A reaction is automatic, triggered, and often impulsive. It comes without thought, without pause, without consideration of consequences. When someone says something hurtful and you immediately snap back, that is a reaction. When life throws a sudden challenge and you panic, that is a reaction. Reactions are rooted in emotion, and emotion is unstable. On the other hand, a response is deliberate. It comes after a moment of pause, after reflection, after deciding what serves you best. A response requires awareness, patience, and clarity. It shows that you are not controlled by external events, but by your own inner state. Most people live in a cycle of reactions. The traffic light turns red, they curse. Someone disagrees with them, they argue. A plan falls apart, they crumble. Their emotions swing with every event, and they spend their lives being pulled like puppets by situations outside their control. But when the mind is trained, that cycle breaks. You begin to see that between what happens to you and how you respond, there is space. In that space lies your power, the power to choose. A trained mind learns to expand that space, to breathe before acting, to evaluate before speaking, to think before deciding. That shift changes everything, because instead of life controlling you, you begin to control how you experience life. Responding instead of reacting does not mean you suppress your feelings. It means you learn to master them. Anger may rise, fear may creep in, frustration may boil, but you don't let those emotions sit in the driver's seat. You acknowledge them without letting them control the wheel. This kind of control is not natural. It comes from practice. It comes from teaching your mind to pause when it wants to rush, to breathe when it wants to explode, to reflect when it wants to defend. That is what training does. Just like an athlete trains muscles for performance, the mind must be trained for balance. Without training, instinct takes over, and instinct in the modern world often creates more harm than good. A trained mind gives you clarity in situations where others lose themselves. When faced with conflict, a reactive person raises their voice, intensifies the heat, and escalates the problem. A responsive person listens, evaluates, and chooses words that bring resolution instead of destruction. When a sudden crisis arises, a reactive person panics, makes rushed decisions, and worsens the situation. A responsive person keeps calm, weighs options, and takes steps that stabilize the environment. The difference is not in intelligence or talent, it is in the discipline of the mind. It is in the ability to hold back the first impulse and wait for the right move. The power of responding is that it aligns you with long-term thinking instead of short-term emotion. Reactions usually serve the present moment but damage the future. You feel relief when you lash out, but relationships suffer later. You feel comfort when you avoid a problem out of fear, but the problem grows larger. Responses, however, are shaped by vision. You choose what will benefit you not just now but tomorrow, not just emotionally but practically. This foresight is what separates people who drift in chaos from those who build stability. It is not about never feeling emotion, it is about refusing to let emotion be the decision maker. Training your mind to respond also transforms the way you see yourself. Every time you respond with control, you build trust in your own ability. You no longer doubt whether you can handle what life throws at you because you have proof that you can. That proof builds confidence, and that confidence strengthens calmness. Slowly, you become someone who doesn't get shaken easily, someone who carries stability within. Others may not notice the battles you fight in silence, but they will notice the aura of control that surrounds you. That aura comes from a mind that refuses to live as a reactor and chooses to live as a responder. Inner peace is stronger than outer chaos. The world around you will never run out of reasons to disturb you. People will disappoint you. Situations will change without warning, plans will collapse, and unexpected problems will always appear. Chaos is not an exception in life, it is the constant. But within every person lies a space that cannot be touched by the outside world unless you allow it. That space is your inner peace. When it is strong, the noise outside cannot control the calm within. When it is weak, the smallest disruption can steal your balance. The real power lies in building inner peace so unshakable that outer chaos becomes background noise instead of a controlling force. Inner peace does not mean you escape from life or pretend everything is perfect. It means you live in the middle of imperfection without letting it consume you. Imagine standing in a storm. The wind is loud, the rain is pouring, the ground is shaking, but inside you there is stillness. That stillness is not denial, it is discipline. It is knowing that while you cannot control the weather, you can control how you stand in it. Outer chaos may shake the world, but if your peace is strong, you will not collapse with it. This is why the most resilient people are not those who avoid problems, but those who face them with a calm mind. When your peace is anchored within, you no longer depend on external conditions to feel stable. Many people tie their happiness to fragile things: money, recognition, relationships, status. The moment those things change, their peace disappears. They are stable only when the world gives them reasons to be stable. But the world will never provide permanent stability. That is why peace must come from inside. When your mind is trained to remain calm, no achievement or failure can fully control your sense of balance. You become free from the grip of circumstances, because your peace does not live in the hands of others, it lives in you. Chaos feeds on reaction. When outer events cause inner turmoil, chaos grows stronger. But when you carry peace within, you cut off its power. For example, an insult loses its sting when you remain unshaken. A setback loses its weight when you keep your composure. A difficult season loses its power when you decide not to let it break your spirit. This doesn't mean problems vanish, but it does mean problems stop ruling your emotions. Inner peace is like a shield that absorbs the blows of life without letting them destroy you. It transforms how you experience hardship, making it something you walk through instead of something that swallows you whole. Inner peace also expands your vision. Chaos narrows your focus, making you obsess over the problem, the pain, the fear. Peace opens your perspective, allowing you to see beyond the immediate storm. Instead of asking why this is happening, you begin to ask what you can learn, how you can grow, what you can build from the situation. That perspective shift is powerful because it turns challenges into opportunities and setbacks into lessons. Without inner peace, you only see loss. With inner peace, you see possibility. Another strength of inner peace is its influence on others. People sense when someone carries calmness within. In a room filled with tension, the one who stays composed becomes a grounding presence. In a team facing crisis, the one who doesn't panic becomes the source of direction. Peace is contagious, and when you protect it within yourself, you often give others permission to find it in themselves. Outer chaos may continue, but your calmness spreads stability to those who cannot yet find it on their own. This is how one person's inner balance can change the atmosphere around them. Inner peace is not built by accident. It grows through practice, through self-awareness, through learning to let go of what you cannot control and focusing on what you can. Every day offers chances to strengthen it. When someone tests your patience, when plans don't work out, when emotions try to pull you away from balance. Each of these moments is a test, and every time you choose calmness over reaction, your peace grows stronger. Over time, it becomes a permanent part of you, a power that outer chaos cannot touch. Discipline and practice build mental strength. Just as no athlete becomes strong without training, and no musician masters their craft without repetition, the mind cannot grow steady and resilient without consistent discipline. Mental calmness is not a gift given to a few. It is a skill built by those who commit to practicing it every single day. Too many people wait for the storm before they decide to test their balance, but by then, it is often too late. The time to build mental strength is not in the middle of chaos, but before it arrives, when you can train your mind through small, daily acts of discipline that prepare you for the greater tests of life. Discipline is the foundation because it forces you to do what is necessary, not just what is convenient. Most people allow emotions to dictate their actions. If they feel like it, they act. If they don't, they retreat. But discipline means you act regardless of how you feel. You stay calm even when your temper wants to explode. You stay focused even when distractions tempt you. You stay patient even when frustration rises. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you are strengthening the mental muscle that keeps you steady in difficult times. Just like lifting weights tears down muscles so they can grow back stronger, resisting impulses and practicing calmness in small situations builds resilience for larger ones. Practice is the repetition that turns discipline into second nature. No one becomes calm by deciding once. It is built through repetition, through deliberately choosing patience over and over again until it becomes your default response. At first, it feels unnatural to pause when your instincts want to react. It feels difficult to breathe when anger demands release. But with practice, the pause becomes easier, the breath becomes automatic, and calmness becomes natural. The mind learns through repetition, and the more you train it to hold steady, the more it learns that steadiness is the normal state. What once required effort eventually becomes who you are. Consider how athletes train for endurance. They do not wait for the race to build stamina. They run every day, pushing their limits, preparing for the moment when performance matters most. In the same way, practicing mental discipline in daily life prepares you for the unexpected crises. When the pressure rises, you don't crumble because you have trained your mind to handle weight. When chaos erupts, you don't panic because you have rehearsed calmness in smaller storms. Every choice to practice in ordinary situations equips you for extraordinary ones. Mental strength built through discipline also gives you control over your environment. Life is full of distractions, negativity, and noise. Without discipline, you become a prisoner of whatever surrounds you. But with discipline, you choose what to focus on, what to ignore, and how to direct your energy. This control protects your inner state from being hijacked by external forces. Practice sharpens this control because the more you exercise it, the sharper it becomes. Just as a sword dulls without sharpening, the mind weakens without practice. Another key to building mental strength is consistency. Sporadic effort will never create lasting change. You cannot train once a week and expect to be strong. You cannot choose calmness only when it is easy and expect to remain calm when it is hard. Consistency is what transforms temporary effort into permanent power. Every day you practice, you are layering strength upon strength, creating a foundation so solid that even when life shakes, you remain unbroken. Discipline provides the structure, practice provides the repetition, and consistency binds them together into resilience. Mental strength built this way also influences your sense of identity. When you see yourself choosing calmness repeatedly, you begin to believe that calmness is who you are. Identity is powerful because people act in alignment with what they believe about themselves. If you believe you are easily shaken, you will continue to be shaken. But if through discipline and practice you prove to yourself that you can remain steady, you begin to embody that steadiness. The mind then no longer has to fight as hard because calmness is no longer a choice you make. It is a part of your character. Discipline and practice may not seem glamorous, but they are the silent forces behind every strong and calm mind. The person who looks unshaken in the storm did not arrive there by accident. They trained for it, they practiced for it, they built it in moments when no one was watching. That hidden work is what gives them visible power when life tests them. True power is staying steady in uncertainty. Life will always place you in situations where you do not know what comes next, where the path ahead is foggy, and where the answers you want are not available. Uncertainty is uncomfortable because it strips away the illusion of control. People panic when they cannot predict outcomes, when they cannot secure guarantees, when they cannot see the future clearly. Yet, this is where the strongest individuals reveal themselves, not in the moments where everything is certain and predictable, but in the moments where nothing is clear, and yet they refuse to crumble. Remaining steady in uncertainty is a demonstration of real power, because it shows that your strength is not dependent on circumstances, but anchored in your own mind. Uncertainty exposes the difference between those who are controlled by fear and those who are guided by composure. Fear thrives in the unknown, whispering worst-case scenarios, magnifying risks, and convincing you that collapse is inevitable. A reactive mind listens to those whispers, allowing fear to dictate decisions and drive actions. But a steady mind acknowledges the fear without bowing to it. It does not deny the risks, but it does not let them consume clarity. That steadiness allows you to see opportunities even in confusion, to make choices with patience rather than panic, and to keep moving forward when others freeze. Steadiness in uncertainty also reflects trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your preparation, trust in your ability to handle whatever arrives. Many people believe that power comes from having all the answers, but true power comes from being able to move even when you don't. It is easy to stay calm when the road is smooth and the direction is clear. It is harder to stay calm when every step feels risky, when the outcome is unknown, and when doubt tries to cloud your judgment. That is why steadiness in uncertainty carries so much weight. It proves that your foundation is stronger than your fears. When you remain steady in uncertain times, you also gain the advantage of perspective. While others are consumed by anxiety, your calmness allows you to think clearly and make better decisions. Opportunities are often missed because people act out of haste, rushing to escape discomfort rather than waiting for clarity. But a steady mind does not rush blindly. It takes in the information, considers the possibilities, and then chooses with intention. This not only protects you from unnecessary mistakes, but also positions you ahead of those who let chaos push them into poor decisions. Uncertainty can also reveal character. In moments of clarity, anyone can appear strong, confident, and secure. But when the future is unknown, the mask falls away. Some will show fear, others will show doubt, and some will reveal anger. The one who reveals steadiness, however, shows true leadership. People naturally look for anchors when they feel lost. If you can remain calm when no one else can, you become that anchor, providing reassurance and stability. This influence does not come from having all the answers, but from showing through your presence that chaos does not have to control you. Remaining steady in uncertainty also transforms your relationship with challenges. Instead of seeing the unknown as something to fear, you begin to see it as an arena for growth. Each uncertain moment becomes a test of your inner strength, a chance to prove to yourself that you can stand tall even when the ground beneath you is shaking. Over time, what used to terrify you begins to empower you. The more you face uncertainty with steadiness, the less intimidating it becomes. You stop needing guarantees because you trust your ability to adapt. You stop fearing the unknown because you know you can handle it. True power is never about controlling every detail of life. It is about controlling yourself when details fall apart. It is not about knowing every answer, but about standing firm when questions remain. It is not about waiting for certainty, but about moving with confidence even when certainty never arrives. Remaining steady in uncertainty is proof that your strength is not built on the shifting ground of circumstances, but on the unshakable foundation of your own calmness.